I'm Bad Reception. If you're new here, then hello and welcome, and thanks for stopping by. And if you're already a subscriber to my channel, then I'd just like to thank you so much for your support and say thanks for stopping by once again. My channel is all about visual snow. Visual snow is a neurological syndrome. It's very rare, but many people do have it, and this channel is all about bringing together that community, as well as teaching those who have never heard about visual snow what it is. Here at Bad Reception, we investigate, speak, and explore the oddity that is visual snow with an artistic attitude. If you wish to learn more about visual snow, see fun and informative video representations, and just stop feeling so gosh darn alone in all this, then you, my friend, have come to the right place. Because that is what Bad Reception is all about. I am one of the few that actually has visual snow, and want to do my part in raising awareness. I already have a few videos uploaded on this channel, so be sure to check those out if you already haven't. Links will be below in the description box. Today is my very first vlog, and I'm so excited to get started. So let's get right into it. Today's topic is my visual snow story. But, real quick before we start, I want to introduce you to my visual snow, Snowy. Hey, say hello, Snowy! Wow. Very subtle, Snowy. Very subtle. So, we're gonna take you back to the very beginning when I first noticed my visual snow. I'm around 3 years old. Wait! Bad Reception? You're saying you remember something well enough to explain to us when you were 3 years old? Well, as a matter of fact, I do, dear watcher, because this was a very important night that changed my entire life. Why, it's the very night I first met Snowy. How could I forget it? The setting is a child's bedroom. A child who always wanted the lamp in his room to be just slightly on to keep away the dark, as well as the door of his bedroom to be left slightly open so he could feel closer to his parents who were across the darkness of the hall. This small Bad Reception is all ready to go to sleep, when out of nowhere, a large distortion begins to evolve in the top left corner of his ceiling. It's a mighty collection of tiny dots, flickering and swarming as one. However, they are combined in a very impressive and intimidating shape that so happens to be the large head of a hungry Tyrannosaurus Rex. Bad Reception? I thought you said this was a true story. Visual snow can't be a T-Rex, now can it? I'm about to explain. Now you see, this T-Rex is the most terrifying thing my little eyes have ever seen. Now keep in mind, I'm a huge dinosaur fan, especially at this age. But seeing a T-Rex opening and closing its mighty static-laced jaws within my room was not at all acceptable. So I scream in horror for the attention of my parents, who come straight away asking what is wrong. And I try to explain. I really do, but I fail to do so properly. I merely call this strange new phenomenon scary stuff. Now obviously at this time, I didn't even know enough words to describe what I was seeing properly. The best I could do was either call it scary stuff or a T-Rex, which neither were very helpful. Which was proved by the first reaction of my parents, who merely thought it was my imagination. And why wouldn't it be? But the truth was, it was very real. Thinking it would calm me down, my parents let me try to go to sleep in their bedroom, when what to my wondering eyes did appear, but even more static lingering in there. Realizing that the scary stuff was not only in my bedroom, but everywhere, I returned to my room and spent the night facing its confusing and horrifying presence alone. It was no longer a dinosaur even in a specific area. It was everywhere. And by everywhere, I mean in my entire field of vision. And I remember noticing how much easier it was to see in the part of the hallway that I could see from my slightly open door. Although I didn't know it yet, and I wouldn't know it for many, many years, what I was experiencing was called visual snow. The scary stuff was everywhere, in any lighting condition, but far worse in the dark. I was afraid of the dark, but no longer because of the darkness, but because of the light. And I didn't want the sun to set because I knew the nighttime was its favorite time to play. And as I grew older, I would bring it up every once in a while, trying to describe it better, but I could never do it justice. But as time went by and I kept on bringing it up, my parents began to wonder and realize something was indeed not normal. So I was taken to doctors who were not at all helpful, which is a common trait for many people with visual snow, because they just simply have never heard of it. So visual snow had become my shadow, following me every which way. So when I had finally grew to no longer fear the static, I began to study it, why I had become fascinated with the strange anomaly and wanted to learn more. So I began to test it. One of my first tests was me wondering if I could control it. If I waved my finger through it, did it part like water? Could I catch it and throw it like a ball? I began to think I could. This scary stuff began to fuel my imagination. Why, my bed became a spaceship. I traveled through the stars and went through spiraling vortexes that would lead me to a brand new dimension. Another test of mine was simply watching it turn into random moving pictures. I like to think of it as connecting the dots. Seeing the static turn into, for example, a T-Rex. Strange and complex geometrical shapes. And simply things that are undescribable but made of pure, uncontrollable imagination. There really seems to be no limitations. Basically what I'm talking about is 100% static-fueled hallucinations. This is something I've had with my visual snow since the very beginning. And from what I've learned, this is not a common trait with many people with visual snow. So far, I've only come across 3 or 4 people who have this exactly as I do. But if you yourself have visual snow, and have what I was just describing, please do me a big favor and comment down below, because I would love to chat with you about it. Anyway, the older I got, the more careful I ran these tests. The most memorable one was when I first truly discovered how it stayed behind the eyelids. And I don't mean how the static was just there when I closed my eyelids. I mean that it was exactly the same. Whatever shape or being that had caught my attention, when I opened and closed my eyes, it was in the exact same movement and place as it was when they were open. It truly was exactly the same, eyes open or closed, 24/7. A never-ending noise. That alone was enough to make me feel sick, and as if I would never rest again. Luckily, the older I got, the more I came to accept it. At one point I pushed scary stuff aside and merely thought maybe it was just how everyone saw it. Maybe I was over-aware of it, and since I could never explain it well enough, it could possibly just be normal. And since I was no longer terrified by it, I merely just pushed it aside and got to the point where I just stopped talking about it. Now flash forwards past many years to a very important year for me, which you'll hear me bring up many times in these vlogs. Of course I'm talking about 2018. Now in 2018 I'm 19 years old and had just recently brought scary stuff back to the table, telling both my parents that it was still around. So I was taken to an optometrist who declared I had something that was not so strange after all. He told me what I had was something he had too. Why, it was something everyone had, and perhaps I just had it worse than others. Apparently what I had was called phosphenes. Finally I knew what I had, and I couldn't be happier. Though I was a little skeptical. A little bit, and you know what? With good reason. Because a few months later I found myself in an English course at college, where I had an assignment where I needed to write an essay that was about something important and personal that happened to me in my life. And I took this as a great opportunity to finally share my story with this static. So at home, as I researched phosphenes for my paper, I found out it was not what I had at all. And I was heartbroken, feeling the loss of an all too important answer that hadn't been right to begin with. But I was not willing to give up. I began researching visual disturbances, ready to crack the case once and for all. That's when I discovered this thing called prisoner's cinema, which I decided must be what I have. I was wrong again. To explain prisoner's cinema shortly, what it is strange hallucinations coming to people who spend very long periods in the dark, such as prisoners. In prison cells. Nope, that did not seem right at all. But I was so desperate to find a name for what I had, I just had to keep searching. And that was when I found it. A 3-minute and 22-second video that would change my life forever. The video was simply called, "What is it like to live with visual snow?" This was my very first introduction to what scary stuff really was. The very end of a lifelong journey had finally arrived, and I was overwhelmed with finally having a name for it and finally feeling that I was not alone. As I scrolled through the comments section, I couldn't believe it. Here I was, I finally made it. It was real. Thousands of people out there who had gone through something just like me and still were. What is it like to live with Visual Snow is my favorite video on Visual Snow ever made. It's on the channel Technically Everything LLC and represents Visual Snow in my opinion perfectly. I've attached the link to this video down below in the description box too, so be sure to give it a watch. So to end this epic tale of perseverance, I wrote one of the best essays in my life, and it was on Visual Snow, and I called it Living with Bad Reception. And I continued my research for the rest of the year, learning more and more about the syndrome and its many symptoms, which a few related exactly to me. I began following websites, forums, and was even fortunate enough to attend the very first Visual Snow conference that was held in San Francisco just weeks after I discovered Visual Snow's name. And then, as fate would have it, almost exactly a year after I discovered the name of Visual Snow, I opened up this channel. My new mission with Visual Snow is to simply spread awareness and help those out who are like me find out that they are not alone in this and give them helpful videos, such as the one that helped me out so much. There's a lot of stories I want to share with you, and many things I wasn't able to specifically say in this vlog. And one of those things that I'm super excited for is me getting the chance to read you my original essay on Visual Snow that I wrote last year in college. I can't wait to share that with you, and I hope you tune in when that comes out. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button, and also if that subscriber button is red, make sure to click it and make it gray so you're a part of the Bad Reception community. Also, if you want to stay on top of all my future videos on this channel, make sure to ring the bell. That will allow YouTube to directly send you emails whenever I upload a new video. Also, please comment down below with any questions or comments, or even if you just want to say hi, I'll say hi back. Also, please consider helping those out with Visual Snow by spreading awareness yourself. Starting by sharing one of these videos, or just my channel in general, might be a good start. Alright, until next time, this is Bad Reception and Snowy, signing off.